Ren, thank you. Just echoing Tina's sentiment around being brave. It takes a lot to stand up there and do what you do. So thank you so much. How do we support trans issues? Where are organizations, where should we be going to support stories like yours?
So thank you for asking that question. One of my favorite organizations is called the Trans Law Center, and they do vital work. Actually, I'm raising funds for them at the moment. So I have a capsule collection out, which is a T-shirt and a print. It was actually some young designers back at RGA that launched this amazing initiative. It's called Merch Aid, so Merchandise Aid. And it was launched at the beginning of the pandemic to keep small businesses afloat by connecting artists with local businesses that couldn't make any money in the pandemic. And so we had these amazing outpouring of artists selling merchandise for these small businesses, and it kept hundreds of businesses afloat. It was amazing. Anyway, so now it's focused on issues, and so there's a whole collection about transgender rights. T. Huglo actually has made some stuff on there. So if you go to merchaid.com and have a look, and there's all kinds of other issues that initiative supports. All of the profits go to the Trans Law Center, and it doesn't cost them anything to participate. So, yeah. Thank you.
Raise your hand if you have a question, and the mic will come to you. Can you stand up and say your name?
Hi, I'm Neil Feldman of NOB Arts. You mentioned two things in your speak. You spoke about ayahuasca. For all of us in this room who have never even heard the word and have no clue what it is, if you could explain it. It seems like a psychedelic. That's probably wrong. Please explain it. And also, early on, you said something about a new material that's biodegradable. Are you making it in eatware utensils that are often thrown out and clog up the environmental waste stream? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Great question. Okay, it's ayahuasca. Yes. So ayahuasca is, yes, it's a plant medicine, and it's originated with the Shipibo people. So it's actually two plants that work together. So ayahuasca. So one of them is called the vine of the dead, and it contains the most potent hallucinogenic we know of, which is DMT, dimethyltryptamine. The other plant contains a monooxidase inhibitor, which basically turns off the part of your gut that makes it possible to digest DMT, which means that you have this incredible 5-hour journey. And in my case, I completely went to a different plane of consciousness. It was like an ultraviolet pulsating jungle. And I was tied to the floor and I couldn't move, and I had these bejeweled lizards right inside of my body. And I met this gigantic deity, a blue deity, and she's called Mother Ayahuasca. And she, you know, everyone sees Mother Ayahuasca, and she basically changed my life. She gave me a right kick up the ass. And it was brutal, because you see the kind of like the worst parts of yourself, and it's like looking into the worst mirror. But ultimately, it all comes from a place of love. It really is a miracle. That medicine, yeah, but it's very serious business, so I wouldn't recommend it lightly. Another miracle is actually the Evolved by Nature. So what they do, they've actually patented a new molecule that they own, that they derived from organic silk, and so they make a liquid from it, which can replace petrochemicals. It's completely biocompatible and sustainable, and you can apply it to any manufacturing process by swapping out the harmful chemistry with this new green chemistry. So they're in skincare, they're in cosmetics, they're in fashion, and so Nike use it to treat their leather, Chanel use it to finish their cashmere. So anything that you're wearing right now is treated with chemicals. So especially if it has a performance benefit like anti-wicking, anti-pilling, etc. And so what Evolved by Nature have created is this green chemistry that can replace all that harmful stuff. And there's no downside to it. And they're an amazing company. I love them so much. So please recommend those to anyone you know that makes anything.
Hey, Ren. Hello. What an incredible human being. And ayahuasca is a trip. So I think a lot of people don't talk about death of identity enough. Do you have any advice for this community in terms of how they open up the conversation, whether it's their career, relationships, sexuality? I think our generation is going through so many deaths of identity. How do you open up that conversation with your community? Do you have any advice on that?
Yeah, I think sort of saying about the transition is really hard, because it's about, you know, letting go. And I think that really is hard. I think that what the process that I went through was really understanding what were the kind of self-limiting beliefs that I was holding on to. I had a lot of shame. You know, I was so ashamed of not coming out because I had privilege, you know? And I think that I had to go through a process to really let go of that and do the work to find self-acceptance. And, you know, that's the intent that I went to with ayahuasca, self-acceptance. And I asked to see my pain, my shame, and my fear. And she showed me. And, you know, and it helped me let go. So that's a very extreme way of moving on and moving past those things. But I think you can do it another way, meditation, breath work. There's all kinds of ways you can get to the same point. But ultimately, I think it's letting go of things that don't serve you. And that'll allow you to move forward.
Hi, Ren. My name's Lila. Thank you for sharing your story with us. You've talked a lot about the death part of the ayahuasca journey and death of ego, and I wanted to know if there were any core parts of yourself that traveled through that journey with you and still, I guess, live inside of you, because I think a lot about, you know, ego death, and it's like, what is the true self, and what parts do we want to bring along?
Wow, what an amazing question. I've got a bit of a profound answer, but it's quite long, but I'll try and speed it up. Okay, so I think there's three parts of me that I identified. First of all, there's what I would call Rigby, which is basically my kind of industry work persona. It's where I'm more confident, skew more male, and this kind of energetic leader type person. Then there's another part of me, which is the child part of me that I call little Michael, that you just saw there. And that part of me is just curious and fun, but also afraid of a lot of things. And then there's Ren, which is the feminine part of me that's kind of kind and encouraging and creative. And I actually realized after a while that, wow, that's kind of like the Trinity. So I have Rigby, the father, Michael, the son, and Ren, the spirit. And, you know, that was kind of a really interesting thought that helped me understand the different parts of me. So if I have a thought now, I'm like, where's that coming from? Is it Michael? Is it Rigby? Is it Ren? And I actually encourage those three things to work together, because I think there's no bad part of you. And I think that's a mistake we often make, is that, oh, that's a bad part. No, it's not. It's actually loving every part of you. And I think that's perhaps what enlightenment is. It's shining a light on the darkest parts of you and bringing them to the surface and understanding yourself as a whole person, the light and the dark. And those are things that help me.
Hi, my name is Marie. I would like to ask you a question about your work, and how does your transition journey has impact your work and your approach of your work as a designer?
Good question. Well, there is a very direct connection between what I've been searching for and what I do for a living, which is identity. So I would describe myself as an identity designer. And so I take tremendous satisfaction in helping companies that I believe in find their best selves. And I've obviously been on the same journey to find my best self. And so there's a real complete direct, that didn't dawn on me until fairly recently, where I was like, oh my God, I'm an identity designer. And I'm like, wow, no wonder I'm kind of so obsessed with this.
Good morning. Thank you, Ren. Hi, darling. My name is Melissa Faith. My first time here, I'm getting my cherry pop, so I'm so grateful that I'm here with you. I'm a shaman as well, a shamanic priestess and a sex alchemy coach. And my journey has been over in Egypt. I was called by Isis to really bring forth the healing of the divine union within and without. So the conversation is really bringing harmony to the masculine and feminine, within and without. Yeah. So how am I able to be of service to the transgender community with that conversation? Yeah.
Well, I think you said something really interesting, which is the both and accepting both. So one of the most profound things I experienced during ayahuasca was I was laying on the ground. I was on the White Cliffs of Dover, and I was pulled outside of my body, which was still lying on the floor. And I had a voice say to me that you were born with two spirits inside of you, male and female. And she lit up this side of me, the feminine side, and it was this beautiful park scene of women working together and sisterhood and kindness. And then she lit up the male side of me, and for me, it was like this derelict landscape. It was like Armageddon. And she said, I'm in a lot of pain, and perhaps men in general, because we're taught that we can't have access to any of that gentleness, that kindness. And just by you being yourself, you're bringing both sides together and showing people a different way to be feminine and a different way to be male. And that framing and that visualizing really, really helps me.
That's beautiful. Okay, so the 30-second pictures, please come up front, and we'll do one more question. Is there one more question in the audience?
Right here.
Okay, but 30-second pictures, please come to Exa, right here. Did somebody raise their hand somewhere around here? I think so.
Me. Hi, Ren. I'm Mary. Thank you so much for that wonderful speech. So exciting to talk about gender and fluidity and how we can all kind of come into ourselves. I'm curious a little bit about, not a little bit, I mean, honestly, I'm like very concerned about the climate situation. And I'm wondering, talking about trinities, we're all humans and creators and consumers. Do you have any suggestions for how we could be more influential or more helpful in that?
Well, I think just maintaining hope, because hopelessness serves no one. I think one of the amazing stories about the founder of Evolved by Nature is Greg, his name is, and his partner, Rebecca, is an incredible person. She's one of the world's leading thinkers on plastics pollution, and she's a PhD scientist, and she writes on plastics pollution. Her father was one of the pioneers of the plastics industry and the first person to create 1 billion pounds of plastic in a year. And what Rebecca has done is surfaced archival footage of old conferences from the plastics industry. And basically, there was a conference where the person on the stage said, to drive sales, we need to teach people how to waste. We need to teach a new behavior, which is single-use plastics. And plastics could have taken a very different direction, but it was deliberately built around single-use to drive sales. And basically, they changed society. This was wide-scale, systematic change. And they did that through advertising and design. So that sounds like a negative story, but I actually take tremendous hope from it, because, you know, if the plastics industry can reinvent culture, then we can damn well do it. And so I do think we have incredible tools, incredible resources, and I think just stay hopeful, and let's back and find things like Evolved by Nature that we can actually help share and get more people to use it, and that's what gives me hope.